assassin does it again. Big time players, big time.
Time for a brand new edition of the Gimme the Hot Sauce podcast, and we're going to tweak the format a little bit. Stacey's alongside, Timmy Whispers is here, and we have a guest that's so important, we're not going to make you wait until the second segment. Jason Benetti, back home from Denver, is joining us, a man for all seasons. He has very little time to offer, but he's kind enough to give us a few minutes. Jason, welcome to the show.
Just because I had a dinner plan tonight, I get the whole, ooh, we moved you around the schedule for Jason sort of thing. Stacey texted me. He was like, you going home with the Bulls? And I was like, I think so. And he was like, you want to get on the podcast? I was like, I'm supposed to eat chicken parm with somebody. And now I'm getting the old, we moved it around.
Yeah, we moved around.
Awesome.
Hey, you know what he sounds like? He's like, the Bulls left him behind. Shane, come back.
Yeah. Shane. But we're glad to see you back.
Yeah,
man.
we're glad to have you here.
You know, it's always a pleasure to have you here. And the reason why you're here, because you're a good friend, number one. And then number two, you've got a chance to watch this team up close in here in the preseason. I'm out due to hip injury, so I've been watching them on TV. Give us your impression of what you've seen so far in the games that you've watched.
Yeah, I'm excited you're coming back. Are you questionable to return? Are you probable
I'm coming
to
back,
return?
baby. Load management's over, baby.
Okay.
If I get fined, I get fined. I can't miss any regular season games.
Yeah, Joe Dumars said it's over. It's over. So here's the thing. I you know, it's preseason, right? So you take what you take, right? But if I'm going to go on what I saw in these couple games, I really like the Javon Carter thing. I like the flexibility of Billy's lineups. Robbie and I talked about that on Sunday, right? You have the three guys back. The big three are coming back. Patrick Williams coming back. I still don't really know how Patrick Williams fits in with the first five. And where his shots come from and what his value add is going to be, just considering what's surrounding him. He's a very talented athletic player. I just see, and I want to get your take on it too, but I see a team that's trying to go downhill. I see a team that's trying to be aggressive, drive and kick, and that didn't happen all the time. Now, will it get stagnant at points in the regular season? Maybe, I don't know. But they look like they have a plan, and these preseason games sometimes – there's no real purpose if you've got a bunch of guys who know what they're going to be. This Bulls team looks like it's making changes. And if I'm picking one thing that I thought was the most interesting in the three games that I've done, it's Alex Caruso's barrage from three the other night in the home game against the Nuggets. I really like that he's shot seeking. I think that message has gotten through. And I do wonder what it's going to look like first and second line for Billy over the course of the season.
Obviously, the big X factor for this team, Jason, is Patrick Williams. The core three were held out of the game in Denver on Sunday. Patrick had 10 points in the first quarter, finished with 20, more aggressive in terms of seeking out his shot. I know it's an impossible question to answer because we've been trying to do it for over 3 years now, but do you think that he can be a more aggressive input into that offense?
I do. My question would be back to you guys. What is his shot profile? I asked it to Robbie on Sunday night, and I just don't know where he's going to get the volume for him to be as effective as maybe he was on Sunday. And I think it's like offensive rebounding, following shots, like being active as a cutter away from the ball. But you have a group of guys called the big three. They're going to take most of those shots. And I hope for Patrick Williams' sake, he can kind of carve out a little bit of a niche of what he is, because he's clearly athletic and skilled.
Well, I've always said I would like to see Billy Donovan implement things where he has a matchup advantage. Because on most nights, he's going to have matchup advantage. You'd like to see him run him into the post, maybe, get him in there and throw the ball to him inside, let him try to operate down there, put him in pick and rolls where he's picking and popping and using his athleticism to get to the basket. Because as you can see, he's got guard skills. He can handle the ball. He can get to anywhere he wants to on the court. And that's what I'd like to see. That's one of the things I've been looking at through this preseason, because as you know, there's not a lot of shots out there with the top three guys out there. It's just not. And those guys are not going to relinquish shots to get other guys, opportunities to score. So both Coby White and Patrick Williams are going to have to be much more efficient when they do get shots. They're going to have, whether it be in transition for Coby, pushing the ball in transition, which I really like so far in preseason, getting shots going to the basket, cutting to the basket. Patrick Williams, as you saw last night, and it was just like that Minnesota game a couple of years ago when he had the show for himself he scores 36 points when the other guys are not out there. And it was very evident last night when those guys weren't out there, his game became much more aggressive.
Yeah, I that's why I wonder if we will see just pure value, right? Pure value. Will Patrick Williams sometimes run with that second line more than he did in the past? Because if he can do that and he can be explosive and you can find him a pretty good matchup against somebody else's second line as well, are you maximizing his minutes that way? I don't know what the answer is to that. And I don't know if it's Coby White and Javon Carter always being the one or always being the two. I feel like it can be pretty matchup dependent as well.
There was a lot of talk about a three-way point guard competition with Coby White and Javon Carter, Ayo Dosunmu, and it seems like very early in camp, Coby has established to Billy Donovan, who he had a tough time winning Billy over, but I think he has now, and I think he's distanced himself from the field in terms of being the starting point guard. Stacey's been talking up the work that he's done in terms of his decision-making, his ball handling. What did you notice from Coby in these first 3 preseason games?
Last night especially, he was super decisive, like catch and shoot, I'm going, right? Like attacking in transition, I'm going. He was making crisp passes. It feels like he knows what he is. And in addition, he knows what Billy Donovan wants him to be. And you guys know, sometimes that takes a while, but I did feel that from courtside last night. That seems to be something that's happening. But I do wonder if he might be better served sometimes being the alpha or the second guy on the second line too. I'm fascinated by what Billy decides to do with these lineups this year.
Yeah, there's much more versatility when you throw these glue guys in like Javon Carter, and then you look at what he brings to the table at the point guard position. Can defend 94 feet, can knock down threes. Really good with really leading. Torrey Craig is a guy that I think if you were looking at the lineup changes, how set are they starting Patrick Williams compared to starting him, and then having Patrick Williams come in with that second group where he's much more offensive minded and he's the guy of that second unit. I don't know if they're willing to go that route, but that's something that, I looked at the other night and saying, man, maybe they need to do that because Patrick does, just watching the games, Jason, it was a different Patrick Williams last night than what we've seen so far in the early preseason games.
Yeah, and I think if you're going to maximize what he can do, maybe he's surrounded by other guys who are less offensively skilled or in go mode. I also think Torrey Craig, I don't know that I've seen anybody take seriously defense in a preseason game like he took it seriously last night. He was in people's pockets. He was under the dermal layer of Hunter Tyson, let's say. Like he got to Jamal Murray a little bit. Like he was doing some things. He was nagging people.
Yeah, he's got a little dog in him, and you can tell like he really loves defense. He takes pride in his defense, both him and Javon Carter. And now you pair him up with Alex Crusoe. Now you've got 3 guys that are lockdown defenders. If they're in the game at the same time, they got their men on lock. And now, whoever Billy decides to run with that second group, it used to be Demar. Demar was always that guy at the end of the first quarter. They pull him out. Zach would end the first quarter. Then Demar would go in there with that second group to give him some stability. So it's going to be interesting to see how that works this year.
I just think there are so many more options for that spot. And I think you can rotate it a little bit as well. I do want to know, what was your field goal percentage from 2 feet and in your career? And how did you feel when Andre Drummond missed like 12 consecutive layups?
Let me tell you something. On these championship teams, when you got a shot that close to the basket, you didn't miss because you wasn't getting a lot of opportunities. So I was a very high field goal percentage inside that red painted area. The thing I like about Drummond is what he's going to bring to the table. He's going to bring quickness. He's going to get out in the pick and roll. He's going to rebound the basketball for you, which at times last year was a problem for the Bulls. Now it's going to be interesting to see if Billy gives him more minutes this year, because last year this is a guy that started over 700 games. He was last year kind of being played like he was a guy journeyman. And I think his role should have been a lot bigger. I thought it was big in that Miami series when they took him out of that play-in game. I thought that really hurt the Bulls down the stretch and enabled Miami to get to the boards and get offensive rebounds and win that little play-in game. What do you think about him so far?
I was joking, about the misses because it was funny. Like he looked up to the sky, like, what have I done to the basketball gods? Like, did I wrong you somehow? What's going on here? But I like the guy. I mean, not every veteran has a huge care factor at all times. And when he's on the floor, his care factor is very high because he cares about rebounding and he knows what he adds. So, yeah, I really like him with that second line because he knows what he does, right? There are guys that come into this league and for like 5 years, they don't know exactly what they're supposed to do, no matter who's around them. And we're talking about like, can Coby White score with the first line? Can Patrick Williams score with the first line? Will Alex Caruso score more? There are all these questions of like how people are going to shapeshift a little bit to make the team better. Nobody asked Andre Drummond to do more of anything. Yeah. They want him to rebound, and that's what he's there for. And I like having a piece like that for a team that's trying to mold itself.
The Bulls front office obviously stressed continuity in the offseason. They re-signed Vucevic and Coby White to 3-year deals. Vuce was really candid on media day saying that I felt like there was some unfinished business here and I wanted to see what this core group could do. But he also kind of revealed to reporters that, hey, this might be our last shot. Do you sense that there's pressure on that core group to deliver this year? And is there pressure on Billy Donovan as the head coach to get this team beyond what they've been able to do the last couple of seasons?
I feel like pressure, just based on last baseball season, pressure doesn't happen until game 1. And then game 1 happens and it's like, oh my gosh, it looked the same. What is going on? And I don't want to be too scarred from last season, right? But, as a fan watching the Sox, April torpedoed the Sox. Yeah. They're 7-21 right out of the chute. And you can be as confident in your process as humanly possible. But if things don't break your way early in the season, very quickly in the NBA, I mean, in Major League Baseball, it's 100 games or so, right? That gets you to the trade deadline. Very quickly in the NBA, you start to have to make decisions. So I don't think pressure now, but I do think like 3-4 weeks into the season, if this team starts 2-7, on the other hand, if they're 7-2, everybody's like, oh, okay, we know exactly what this is. We feel great about it because I don't know that anybody a couple of years ago when this Bulls team was cooking like it was with Lonzo at the point, I don't know that anybody necessarily thought we were going to get here to this point talking about this either, considering how they were playing at that time. So I don't feel pressure now, but I do sense that it just based on recent history in another sport, it starts to pile up very quickly.
One of the kids that I've been impressed with as far as rookies, and I don't know how much opportunity he's going to get, is Julian Phillips. I mean, he is shown, it looks like Derrick Jones Jr., but a younger version. I mean, the kid has got activity, he goes for rebounds, he blocks shots. You can tell he needs to get a little stronger, he needs to work on his three-point shooting, but he seems to have a huge upside.
Yeah, and like Rick Barnes teaches people how to get after it. Like rebound, use your skill set in the paint. And that's what he had at Tennessee coaching him. And so, yeah, I really like Julian Phillips. I do wonder what we're going to say in a couple years about his 3-point shot. Like, is it going to be one of those, it never came around? Or is it going to be, man, he really worked on it and it's really good stuff? If that happens, I mean, that is a tantalizing prospect. We saw the vertical leap last night. Yeah. And it is breathtaking courtside. Like that is legit hops. And it's not a lie what he's doing on that max vert. So I really like him. The Bulls were pretty healthy with the exception of Lonzo Ball last year. There are some interesting pieces if they're not healthy this season.
Well, you referenced the White Sox in a past answer, so as a prosecutor, I'm allowed now to go on that line of questioning. You mentioned
I opened the door.
Yes, so now you open that field. Obviously, you mentioned the slow start, and I just, as a broadcaster, I just felt for you and Stoney having to do 5 months knowing what we were looking at. How did you guys keep your sanity through that run when basically, even before the All-Star break, you knew that the season was already lost?
Yeah, so that it's one of those questions where I remind myself that I'm not digging ditches, laying pipe,
Right.
you know, building houses. I'm not. And by the way, if I did, you wouldn't want to live there, use the ditch. You wouldn't want to run any water through the pipe. Like, it would be a tragedy waiting to happen. So look, I talk about sports for a living. I'm a very fortunate soul. And even on the toughest days, the thing that's hard for me is watching fans struggle with it.
Yeah.
Because we felt like it was going to be a really positive turn this season, and it just didn't happen. So I mean, Jerry said it in his press conference when he announced Chris Getz being hired. It was a terrible season. I'm quoting him there. So yeah, it was really hard to watch because over the course of the last 8 years doing White Sox games, I know how much the White Sox mean to a lot of people. And I just don't like seeing those people watch a lot of losses that they didn't expect. Now, that said, I have a really great broadcast partner for situations like that because Stoney and I both have senses of humor, and we both know, right? I did 10 years of minor league baseball. He did a bunch of years of bad baseball elsewhere, right? Or even national games or whatever it is. So he knows, like, it's our job to have a good time no matter what. And it's a reminder, like that kid last night on the Bulls game that was just devouring the blue snow cone.
Yeah.
That kid, when we have shots like that, when Russ cuts to a shot like that, or Andrew Blaustein with the Sox, Dave Turner, it's just like this shock right in my face of like, hey, there is a kid watching this for the first time. There are people watching this for the first time, and they are choosing to spend their night with us. Time is really scarce for a lot of people. They come home from work after like 8 to 6 and they just want to sit and have a drink and watch a game. So like, it's not hard for us other than we know it's difficult on people. So I appreciate the sympathy, but I would say don't direct any toward us.
Well, and looking at the White Sox, it's like, it's been bad luck. I always say that someone has a voodoo doll for the White Sox and the Bulls with all the injuries that that incur during the season that kind of derails them from, reaching the success that everybody thinks they should. Last couple of years, White Sox is always, people have talked about the White Sox being a serious threat, to get to the postseason and do damage. And then again, injuries derail them, pitchers go out, whatever the case may be. Where do they go next summer? I mean, what do you see? You see him every day. Where does the improvement need? Does it need to be improved in the locker room as far as leadership is concerned, with the coaching staff and everybody involved in that end? Do the players need to be held more accountable? What is it, Jason? I mean, you see it every day.
It's
better players get better players.
Look, baseball plays the most games, and we still can leave seasons and be like, man, I still feel like if the schedule were different in April and that 7-21 hadn't happened, I still think they might have been competitive in the AL Central. Had that not happened, it did, right? And they weren't competitive. So I'm not here making excuses. I feel that more with like a team like the New York Mets this year, who had a lot of talent and it just didn't break their way. I mean, with the Sox, I think Chris Getz is evaluating every facet of the roster. And I think that's his choice, and it's a rightful choice because clearly something didn't work the past couple of years. The good news is, and I know this is like, being the warmest person in Reykjavik in December, but the good news is the AL Central has not been good. And it's a gettable division, and it's playable. So, like, yeah, I do think there are moves to be made. I really do. But I also think the AL Central is the land of opportunity, and for this, the short term, it's gonna be.
I saw a photo this summer of most of Chicago's play-by-play voices having dinner. I believe it was at Chicago Cut or some other outdoor venue. What was that experience like, comparing notes? I mean, Chicago's blessed to have so many great play-by-play voices. And, for you and Adam doing, 3 different sports and traveling crisscross around the country, it must have been nice to compare notes with some of your colleagues.
Yeah, there was a shortage of oxygen. I'll tell you that much. Man, can we say it was one of those like if the oxygen mask deploys, please put it over your face before you help another. Right? Like that. That's all it was. No, it was great. It was really great. A couple guys couldn't come. A couple people couldn't make it because they had games, whatever it might be. But I had actually never met John Weideman. And we spent a lot of time talking there, the play-by-play voice on radio for the Blackhawks. He's a wonderful guy. And we had such a great time. And just, as you said, compared notes. I got to work on a couple of impressions, right? Although Len wasn't there, I didn't get to work on my Len Casper, but I got to kick the tires on my Jeff Joniak, which I hadn't done since I was like 20 years old. Right. So after that, I was like walking around going, first down and 10 for the Bears, Curtis Conway wide to the left, Devin Hester near side right, sort of thing. But it was great fun. We plan to do it every year. Maybe we'll have like rotating analysts stop by. Darren Jackson stopped by.
I didn't get my invite. I didn't get my invite.
Okay. No one invited rotating. Me. It's a rotating analyst. And we don't have a telestrator. We don't have a poster machine.
After seeing that on social media, I've decided to have an analyst get together. I'm getting all the analysts together, and we're going to go out to the steakhouse. And, I don't know where steakhouse, but we'll go out and have a good time.
It'll be like the scene from Anchorman.
Yeah, exactly.
Big fight in some
big
back
fight.
alley. Yeah.
We'll be meeting in an alley. Yeah. Yeah. So all the analysts in Chicago, don't worry. Stacey's working on that. We're going to have a little get together. Forget those damn play-by-play guys.
Will you invite one play-by-play announcer like we invited DJ?
I don't know about that.
Can I be your token play-by-play guy?
You're picking the right side. With big athletes.
I might pick you. I I would have to cross my partner out. See, then it would be like, that would cause internal beef. Like he wouldn't get the
I don't
invite.
want internal. Hey, I like Italian beef, not internal beef.
Tim, do you got a question?
Yeah, go ahead, Whispers.
Whisper, what you got?
Sure. You guys brought up some good points here, but if you're looking at the flexibility of this Bulls schedule and the resting and these other teams might target the Bulls to rest some of those players, if they steal some of those games early, how do you think that affects them down the road then?
I just think you have to put yourself in a viable spot at the trade deadline. Because if there is any feeling that it's a last chance sort of saloon situation here, right, and you're thinking about, hey, what if it doesn't go right, then it's exactly what happened with the White Sox at the deadline. They just had to sell based on the situation. So I hope that early in the season, this team picks off a couple of games that are close games and ends up in a spot where you really have to make some positive decisions, where you say at the deadline, like, you know what? Let's kind of go for it here. Although the East is substantially better. When Giannis after a preseason game says, I've never been this open, that's terror.
Yeah, it is. It is. I saw a little bit of that game last night with the Lakers. And I tell you what, man, they have to be the favorites in my opinion. Even though what Boston has done with Drew Holiday, they have to be the favorites.
Yeah, Middleton wasn't even out there last
because
night.
you got a point guard in Dame Lillard can get you 30 anyway, whether it's shooting behind the three, getting to the basket, creating for his other teammates. There is going to be so many wide open shots for that team. And they were one of the better 3-point shooting teams as far as volume is concerned. I only see that going up for them.
I agree. Boston is very scary, but after seeing Milwaukee a little bit last night and watching Dame in Portland, like I don't know how you guard them. Yeah. I don't know what your decisions are to put you in a good spot to guard them. It doesn't make sense to me.
Hey, Jason, last thing for me, you obviously call college football for Fox. You've seen games in different conferences. Could this be the year the Big Ten finally gets a national championship, or do you still like Georgia or somebody else from the SEC?
I mean, Michigan is scary good. They are tough. They are rugged. They are just beat the heck out of you strong. Ohio State's really good too. And Penn State, I mean, that's an interesting game coming up, Ohio State, Penn State, but you are sitting next to Boomer Sooner.
That's right.
That's right.
And I do think the sports car offense that Jeff Lebby is running there and Dylan Gabriel, the schedule they got by Texas, the schedule is in their favor. In a couple weeks, they're at Kansas, which is, so that's gone haywire for them before. But I do think the schedule is their friend. And if for some reason Texas drops another game and Oklahoma doesn't have to play Texas in the Big 12 title game, it would be a better avenue for them to get in unbeaten into that selection day. I think Oklahoma is going to make the college football playoff this year, and I do think the Big Ten will have 2 teams.
This is why I like you so much, because you keep it 100. So you know what my Sooners are doing. We have come back from the tar pits, and now we're back among the elites. We go to Texas last year, get beat 49-0. Gabriel doesn't play. He has a concussion against TCU the game before. We have a young quarterback. They waxed us. No one gave us a chance to beat Texas this year. And what happens? We upset them. Now, the only problem with us that I see Kansas being tough at Kansas is we play down to the level of competition, because we're not, we play these hype games, and now you're coming down and you're starting to play some teams that maybe there's not a lot of hype. You still got Bedlam with Oklahoma State. Oklahoma State is not going to be an easy game. You got to throw the records out. It doesn't matter what they're ranked. Oklahoma State has always been a problem for Oklahoma, even though we've dominated them. My man Ben out there, he's not out there today, but I know he's listening at home. Yeah, Oklahoma State, we've dominated Oklahoma State. But if they can just keep going forward, their defense he's got the defense that he had at Clemson. They're playing fast on both sides of the ball, and they're winning the line of scrimmage, and that's huge at the college game. Did you see Colorado and Stanford?
I did.
What did you think about that game? What did you think about that game?
I thought, oh my goodness gracious, you can't do that. Yeah. You can't do that. That can't happen no matter what. Like, they might grow from it and everything. That's fine. And I love what Deion did the first month of the season. Like, I love that he turned it around so fast. So this is not a knock on Deion in any way. That can't happen. It can't happen, especially against a Stanford team that has gotten obliterated by a couple other teams in the college football season. I will say, too, you were talking about Bedlam. This could be the last Bedlam.
It is. It will
for
be.
A long time. Yeah. How unsober is that entire stadium going to be?
You know what? I tell you what, it's really sad, because the way college football, Jason, has been, these new conferences have been realigned. You've taken away a lot of these great rivalries that have made college football what it is today. And I feel bad for the fans, because the fans love those things. I grew up, Oklahoma, Texas, we know Oklahoma, Texas going to SEC, so that'll always be there. But that Oklahoma State, that's the dividing line in Oklahoma. That's a serious rivalry. And for that to be going away because Oklahoma State staying in the Big 12 and, Oklahoma going to SEC, that's going to be sorely missed by a lot of fans, especially in the state of Oklahoma.
Think about Oklahoma, Kansas in basketball, right? Think about all the great games that we're not going to have in that rivalry.
Yeah, this realignment, man. I'm not a fan of that, man. I know what they're doing.
The one thing that I do like that I think is going to be sneaky fun is you're going to have these West Coast schools join the Big Ten. I do think there's going to be like this Midwest versus West Coast chic sort of elite, like Beverly Hills versus sort of cow pasture to be totally reductive, right? But there's going to be like when Oregon goes to play at Minnesota, Iowa, Indiana, whatever. I think there's going to be when UCLA goes to play Nebraska, I think there's going to be some of that, like, don't come here and tell us what you do on the West Coast. We're going to be rugged and we're going to beat you. I think those rivalries will be fun, but I am really sad that this could be the last Apple Cup. This could be the last Civil War, Oregon State. And like you said, Bedlam. It's disappointing as somebody who grew up with it, but the more things change, the more they stay the same.
Do you have your assignment yet for Saturday for college football?
Yeah, so we have a pretty good one. We have Utah at USC.
Yeah, it should be a good game.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
Because USC right now, man, I tell you what, they've been able to skate by because their offense has been so dynamic. And if they've had to score 45, 50 points for them to even have a chance to win. It caught up with them against Notre Dame. Notre Dame was coming off those tough losses to Ohio State, and then they lost the Louisville, I think it was Louisville they lost to. So they were really, you knew that was going to happen because they were going to come in really jacked to play USC at home, and they really took it to SC.
Oh yeah, I mentioned it briefly on Sunday night, last night with the Nuggets Bulls game, but Demar was wearing that Caleb Williams shirt last night over on the sideline, and he walked over toward the table. We're on the floor at Ball Arena, and I go, I really do respect that you're still wearing the shirt. He's like, Caleb's my boy, and I was like, that offensive line was horrible, and he's like, yeah, it was. I mean, I like guys in the NBA who are still so locked in on their college stuff. I am just a big Demar Derozan fan because he seems like he just totally gets it.
Yes.
You know, like he's aware of everything going on around him. He really likes to be good to people. I am a big fan of him and his level of awareness for life.
Yeah, I'm a huge fan. I mean, he's a great teammate. This is a guy that, we go watch guys go play in the G League. He'd go to G League games and watch guys. He went to Io's jersey retirement. I mean, so this is a guy who actually gets it. These are the kind of pros that, like, I used to see the Bill Cartwrights and the John Paxsons, that were leaders, outside of the court. And it's good to see that he's one of those things, and these guys have an opportunity to learn and sponge from him. Patrick Williams, Coby White.
Yeah, I agree with you. And he's wearing the USC shirt and you totally get that. And that's why you're wearing a Mariners hat. I totally get it. In the bag for the Mariners.
First of all, the S stands for, you think it stands for Seattle, but it actually stands for Stacey.
Oh,
and how do you
so just to remind you,
Mark, you just can't jump from one conversation to another. Okay, we're talking about the hat right now. Don't worry. Blue happens to be my favorite color.
Right.
Okay, that's number one, and it matched my sweatpants, my polo sweatpants. So that's why I wore
it's a fashion choice.
It's a fashion choice. Yes, thank you.
So blue's your favorite color. So if I send you a Jayhawk hoodie, you should wear it if it's about the color.
That's totally uncalled for. That's a low blow. That is a biting of the ear Mike Tyson move right there, and I don't appreciate it. Okay, do not ever send me a Jayhawk anything. PTSD right now.
They got real good people. They got real good people there in Lawrence. Stacey, check it out.
Jason, I thought we were.
Check it out.
This is why the Beatles broke up.
I'm a little disappointed you're not having a comeback there saying, "Hey, congrats on your new shirt from Denver."
Yeah, I did. I do look a little bit like Al Borland from Tool Time, Home Improvement right now.
Yeah, you got that brawny look, that brawny paper towel.
That's true.
Yeah.
I look like I should be on the side of a can of baked beans.
Well, you know what they say in broadcasting, Jason, always leave them laughing. So we appreciate you so much for taking some time out of your busy schedule to join us. And we are contractually obligated to talk about the Bears. So Mark Grote's going to join us next to talk a little NFL football. So thank you so much.
You got some hot sauce coming.
Yeah.
Did you get the last time you here? Did we get you hot sauce?
Yeah, it was phenomenal. Okay, but I'm too polite to say the name of the show. I say, man, please have some hot sauce.
I'll give you the hot sauce, boy.
You were raised correctly. The grammar police will not be after you. Yeah.
Is it possible that you could pass the hot sauce?
Yes, please, sir.
Yes. We'll make sure. You can have another. Yes.
Jason Benetti, our special guest on Gimme the Hot Sauce. Mark Grote in the On Deck Circle. Keep it right here. Welcome back to Gimme the Hot Sauce. We were joking with Jason about his busy schedule and how we changed the format to try to bring him in for the first segment for his dinner reservation. And we had Mark Grote penciled in for the second segment because of all the breaking news regarding the thumb injury to Justin Fields and everything else going on that's crazy at Hallis Hall. He is swamped over at the Score. Make sure you check out Mark for all his great coverage. He'll be back with us next week. He sends his regrets that he couldn't join us, but we're experts in all sports, so we're going to talk a little Bears with you right now. And we all watched the game on Sunday. I was at Soldier Field covering the game, and I'll tell you what, walking in that locker room was an eye-opener because the Bears had 10 days to prepare for the Minnesota Vikings, a division game. Both teams came in with 1-4 records. You thought the Bears had built some momentum with two great games from Justin Fields against Denver and then the victory over the Washington Commanders. They come out with a terrible game plan. Fields only threw 8 passes before he got hurt in the third quarter, and it seemed like they had no answers for the blitzes. And Stacey, I talked to a couple of offensive players in the locker room afterwards, and they said, we prepared for Minnesota's blitzes, but not the right ones. We weren't prepared for what we saw, which really is kind of an indictment on the preparation level that the coaches had because they were candid in saying we weren't ready for what we saw.
That's an embarrassment. I mean, that a player would even say that they weren't prepared for what another team does with all the scouting and advanced scouting that teams have at every level at the pro level to not know that certain things are going to come at certain times. It baffles me, especially a team like Minnesota who's struggling and trying to get wins. And they know that your offensive line has struggled, protecting Justin Fields. So you knew they were going to come in and really go crazy as far as with their blitz packages, and to not really be able to pick those blitzes up really hurt the Bears yesterday.
And in the game against the Commanders, DJ Moore had a personal career high of 230 yards and 3 touchdowns. Man. Justin Fields threw for 4 TDs against the Commanders, 4 TDs against the Broncos, and yet they didn't go to the passing game. It just baffles me that Luke Getsy would go from 2 games where they had a creative game plan. They got Justin Fields on the move. They put him back in the pocket, and he was just a sitting duck. He got sacked twice in the first drive.
Well, here's what really, just burns me up. You get the reigning NFC Player of the Week in DJ Moore, 230 yards previous game. You had all this time to prepare. He's shown you the last 2 weeks, give me the ball.
Yeah.
I don't care if he's triple teamed, quadruple teamed. I don't care if the whole 11-man team goes off to find a way to get him the ball. And you got Komet, who's been playing better. You can't find him the ball. You can't find Mooney underneath, plays to get these guys, spread the wealth around. If DJ Moore's triple team, find someone else. Komet has been playing really well, especially in short yardage situations, down the middle of the field, red zone. You can't find him. And then you keep Justin Fields again in the pocket where it's proven early in the season that's not successful. You went right back to doing the things. And it's almost like Getsy always wants to try to be the smartest guy in the room. Yeah. I play Madden America, okay? And I just keep it simple, okay? And I play to my player's strength on my team, okay? If my quarterback is a great thrower, we're going to throw the ball. If he's a running quarterback like Lamar Jackson, I'm going to be running all over the place, okay? It's no different, okay? It's no different. This guy runs on passing downs and then passes on running down. You go from a 3rd and 1 situation inside the 38-yard line of Minnesota, and you're in a shotgun formation. You put yourself back 5 yards anyway, so you might as well say now it's 3rd and 6. Come on, man.
Yeah.
Just get the rugby scrum. Do what Philadelphia's doing. Everybody just pile in and let's just go forward. Get the 1 yard, get the first down, keep the chains moving, let's go score a touchdown. The thing, sometimes you just scratch your head with this guy. It's like, it's not that hard. Play to your player's strength. Your best player should get 15 touches a game.
Yeah, so you looked at the schedule and you thought there were some winnable games coming up, but now you can throw that out the window. This season it's gone in the toilet, and there's really not much they can do, especially with the injury to Justin Fields. Now, if you haven't been following the story closely, he went out of the game in the 3rd quarter. We found out that it was a dislocated right thumb, and then Matt Eberflus met the media on Monday afternoon, and in his typical fashion, mealy-mouthed word salad, just talking all around the issue, really wouldn't confirm whether or not Justin might need surgery down the road or how long he's going to be out. He told reporters that it's really a question of he's going to have to get the swelling out and get some strength back in the thumb. He can't really grip the football right now, and until he can do that, he can't play football, obviously. And he said that Fields is doubtful for this Sunday's game against the visiting Las Vegas Raiders. But the way he was talking and what he didn't say kind of led me to believe that there might be some ligament issues, and who knows, he may have to have surgery down the road.
Listen, you can play with dislocated fingers, okay? I mean, I've had these 6 dislocated fingers and played. The thumb is different, though.
Yeah.
The thumb, especially for a quarterback, gripping the football with that thumb is tough. You can play with some broken fingers. Football players play with it all the time. But that thumb for a quarterback, a defensive lineman can play with a cast on or a hurt thumb because you can cast it up. Can't cast up a quarterback. That's he might be out for a few weeks. If it's not broken, if it's just ligament damage and it's the swelling, it's going to take a while for the swelling to get out.
Right.
Because from what I heard, he snapped it back and they put it back in place.
Right.
And he pulled a lethal weapon.
He wanted to go back in the game, but he couldn't grip the ball.
No one questions a kid's toughness, okay? Sometimes you have to be protected from yourself. Coach suggested, and that's what they did with him. But how about take it a little further? How about protect him when he's in the game? How about put him in situations? You did it the last 2 weeks. You had him moving around the pocket, using his legs, using to get outside the pocket, reading what was going on out there. He can read much better when he's on the move than compared to staying in the pocket. I know it sounds crazy. He's not a drop back quarterback. I just wish they just stopped that experiment, try to make him Aaron Rodgers. He's not Aaron Rodgers. He's more Lamar Jackson. He's more Deshaun Watson. C.J. Stroud even moves around the pocket a little bit. Get him on the move. Let him read defenses, and then if he can't get it, take off and run like he normally does. Get first downs, keep the chain moving. It's a very simple game.
Yeah, but when he was injured, that was on him. He had the ball over 6 seconds. He didn't take his check down with Komet, and he was looking for some big play. That's on him.
And he tried to flip the ball out of bounds. That's why he couldn't brace himself, and that's how the thumb injury happened.
But when you're constantly in the pocket, it's been known like he doesn't read defenses very well in the pocket. I mean, just watching him, he looks very unsettled in the pocket. He looks much more comfortable when you have him on the move. His eyes are up the field. He can see everybody. That's why he's able to hit those long bomb throws to people, because he sees guys a lot better. Because when you're in the pocket and with their offensive line, you got people coming from everywhere. And you already heard somebody in the locker room talking about they didn't see some blitzes. They weren't prepared for certain blitzes. Yeah. And they were blitzing from different angles. So when you see people blitzing, you're assuming the blitz is going to come here. All of a sudden, the blitz comes here. They change it up. They hit you with a curveball. You never saw this one coming. I'm not putting that off on.
Even those
him.
small boots against the Commanders, that helped because they were worried about that rush.
And he was a sitting duck back there. The Vikings blitzed on like 72% of the passing down. So you knew it was coming. You should have been ready for it.
But is that also on Whitehair not signaling?
Well, that's the other thing. The shotgun snaps were just laughable. They took Whitehair out in the third quarter, put in Lucas Patrick, who played with Aaron Rodgers in Green Bay. So they had two veteran centers. Neither one of them could do a shotgun snap to save their lives. That throws the whole rhythm of the playoff.
But the center's supposed to signal the front, right?
Well, yeah. But
but it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if you signal in front when you can't hike the ball.
Yeah,
I mean,
so you can sit up there and go, hey, blue 36, so, hey, Omaha. And then all of a sudden you throw the ball, the quarterback's got to jump up like a shortstop, dive to the left, dive to the right.
Timing the plays off.
The whole rhythm. You even saw it with the young kid that came in.
Bagent.
Yeah, Bagent. It was Agent Bagent. That's what they call it.
Secret Bagent, man.
Secret Bagent.
The old song, Johnny Rivers.
Let me tell you something, man. I was hoping he's gonna come in and pull like a, be like a Purdy, come in and win the game for him.
He had a chance.
He had a shot, man. That last throw up, man. I tell you what, that was like playing in your backyard and you telling somebody to go deep and go run, and I'll just throw it as far as I can. I know he can throw that ball further than that, because it looked like he he threw it and did a 360 in the pocket when he threw it.
That was another blitz, and he threw it off his back foot, so there was no velocity on it, and that's the knock on him. That's why he was a Division II quarterback, no arm strength.
Well, I tell you what, they need to go over here, right on down here and find Demar Derozan. And
that's right.
He showed his arm. Let me tell you something. For a basketball player, I played football too. Most basketball players did play football at a younger age. To see this kid throw this football this far, watch this.
Man,
and that's
effortlessly too.
Look at that. That's like how far you think that's 50 yards? I mean, that's a rope.
Yeah.
And he didn't even, it was like, he didn't have any kind of, like, he had to wind up. He just, he's telling Io, go
Keep
deep.
Going, yeah.
Look at him. Look, he's not winding up. That's arm strength. Watch. Go. Look at that. That's a rope.
Yeah, if you're listening and not able to see the video, check it out. The Bulls posted it on their social media site.
Yeah, they were up in the dome in Nashville, and they all, Zach was running routes. Since I was like, hey, you don't want to turn your knee up. He's running a football route.
Yeah, on turf.
But to see DeMar throw that ball like that and watch how easy it was for him to throw and the flick of the wrist, man, the Bears might need to call him up. Hey,
I tell you what, Bagent was the star. Everybody loved him during preseason because of the story. He went to Shepherd University, a Division II school, and no one thought he'd have any chance in hell to make an NFL roster. It was a great story in preseason. Not as much fun during the regular season when you're trying to win football games.
Well, again, it's like when Justin Fields came in for, Andy Dalton. You have to have packages for your players. You're practicing during the week. It's not like he's not getting any opportunities because he's the only quarterback there. So he's a second string quarterback. So he's getting some kind of reps. How do you not have packages for him just in case he might get thrown into the game? We got certain plays where we know he can operate out of. And the same thing with Justin Fields. When Justin Fields would come in for Dalton when he got hurt, you're running Andy Dalton plays for him. Drop back stuff, and that's not his game. Yeah. And you saw it with Bagent. If they would have been able to, because he looked like he can move around a little bit and dink and dime you and find the open guy. But, man, when you're getting blitzed from all over the place, whew, Lord have mercy.
So the only bright spot for Bears fans, if the draft were to be held this week, they would have the first and second picks.
Listen, Bears fans, it's not over. It's not over. I'm just going to tell you right now, but it's pretty damn close.
That's what they call whistling in the graveyard.
It's pretty damn close. Hey, the fat lady ain't singing.
Was it over when the Germans bombed Pearl Harbor?
Hey, but the fat lady's warming it up.
Oh, so speaking of, since you guys are talking about arm strength with Tyson Bagent, it's ironic because his dad is a 17-time arm wrestling world champion.
How about that for a factoid?
Oh, that's his dad?
Cisco doing his work. Travis Bagent.
Cisco moving up
17-time
in the
world
rankings,
arm
baby.
wrestling champion.
You know, just like Dion and his kids. Like, you know, Dion has favorite kids.
Yeah.
Like, I'm like that with my Siracha crew. I have my favorites, you know. And,
D is
you know,
incredulous.
Yeah, you know, so you see my man Frisco, he's moved up ever since he got rid of that little tight shirt from Mount Prospect. And he started wearing some really cool clothes now since I got him in the beginning of America. But these kids do a great job. You know, we got, you know, they do behind the scenes, they do a great job and they're so much fun to work with. You know, they keep asking for raises, but you know, this is a sweatshop. We don't get raises.
That was a good cover up. That was a good cover up.
Hey,
Look at him.
hey,
Look at him.
That's
Look
a
at
sweat.
look at this guy over here. This guy over
No,
here.
I'm not. After this past week, I'm gonna let that one slide. Okay?
Hey, Juan Valdez, get off the mic. Go back and get those coffee beans, boy.
The food is here, by the way.
Oh, so time to wrap it up. So,
I can heat that food on myself. You know? I'm talking about the coffee.
so the Bears will host the Las Vegas Raiders, the first start for the Division II quarterback Tyson Bagent. Good luck, everybody. So
DeMar DeRozan's still out there, Bears.
that's right. He's available on Sunday.
Do y'all have
At
the
least
jersey
some.
10? Y'all got number 10? Y'all got number 10? Put him up.
Can we bring his dad in as a lineman?
Who?
Mr. Bagent. Let's get him
Yeah.
on that front line, protect
We
his son.
could use, maybe you can do a shotgun snap too. We'll have to find out.
man. You can get somebody to do it. Get Stevie Wonder out there. Yeah. Look, there we go. Omaha. Watch this throw, America.
On the way out. That is
a
rope.
rope.
Frozen rope for a
And how
touchdown.
about Io catching
Yeah, it was nice.
a basketball? These are
DeMar
basketball
DeRozan.
players, America.
Sign them both.
Athletes.
Man, oh man.
Some
The
of the best
state,
athletes in the world, baby.
the state
Basketball
of
players.
Chicago sports. Kind of frightening right now. We're going to talk a little college football and tell you about what we're watching.
Boomer.
Give me the hot sauce. Rolls on.
Sooners, baby. Allah.
We've had so much fun talking to our guests that we've not gotten to our sponsorship. And Christopher Walken has been standing outside wondering when we let him in the studio to do his bit.
That's right. It's been a week. I was out of town in Texas, the land of hot sauce. And I'm telling you, I had to get back home to get a little bit of the king sauce.
How can the folks at home procure a bottle, pray tell?
It's not that hard, although people aren't listening half the time. You just go to gimmethehotsauce.com. That's GIMME hotsauce.com. Or go to your local Jules. You can always get it there.
Jules.
That's right.
Any special promotions or codes going on?
It's well, the same old one. Walk-in queue and walk-in fire get you a free bottle with any purchase.
Okay, I'm just going to send a shout out to the Siracha crew for their
Wow.
artwork here. I don't know who's directly responsible. Fran, great job. The Penguin, a.k.a. the Penguin. If you're watching us live right now and you're watching the show, you can see the graphics pop up. That was pretty nice. Little disappearing of flames and stuff. It looked really
Did you
nice.
see Frando put his hand up? It's like there's a tip underneath the basket.
Yeah.
The guy's putting his head.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was me. That was me.
Or if Randy Moss running by the DB and throws the hand up for the quarterback to throw it. That was Fran.
Yeah.
Way to go, Fran.
Nice
Congratulations. Good job, Fran.
So you were on the road last week. Tell us about your trade show last week.
Oh, busy. Just down there trying to make some stuff happen.
Tell the folks where you were.
Austin, Texas.
The home of losers.
Did you get any trouble down there?
Home of losers, baby.
I had to run a couple times, but they couldn't catch me.
Yeah.
I don't know about
Down-
I
that.
don't know about all that. Yeah. Austin, Texas, baby. Hey.
Or even
Look
the,
them horns, baby. They're down. The losers, baby. The Sooners.
even the cops are drunk down there. It's crazy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Hey, that's my kind of place. Might need to go down and visit.
we talked some college football with Jason earlier in the show, but it was interesting, Stacey, that Bears fans are so torn. Some of them want Justin Fields to succeed. Others are hoping that they bottom out, get the first pick, and take Caleb Williams. But Caleb Williams looked rattled in that game in South Bend. Now, you can throw it out as one bad game, and any quarterback is going to struggle against the pressure that he faced. But he was throwing off his back foot, 3 interceptions. He really struggled in that game.
Well, let me just tell Bears fans this. Be careful what you ask for.
Yeah.
They're so quick to give up on these young quarterbacks.
Yep.
It takes – not everybody's Patrick Mahomes, and he sat for a year and a half before he was able to play. Some of these quarterbacks were able to sit and watch. I mean, you see a guy like C.J. Stroud who now looks like the best quarterback in that draft, last year's draft, dominating with the Texans. They're winning. You got to be careful. Maybe how about let's evaluate the coaching staff with this quarterback.
Yeah.
The Bears are not they don't do a good job of developing quarterbacks here. And you gotta really start paying attention. It's not always the quarterback's fault. Like Mitch Trubisky, he got a bad rap here. Mitch Trubisky was an all-pro quarterback at one point when they were winning. And then all of a sudden he forgot how to play because you got, who was it, Tressman and all these other people out here. I mean, be careful what you ask for. This kid can be a very good. The 2 weeks before he got hurt, when they opened the playbook up and said, "Hey, go find your best receiver. Go get DJ Moore the ball. I don't care how you do it. What did he do? 300 plus yards." Struggled a little bit yesterday. The pressure. They got blitzed a lot yesterday. They didn't pick the blitz up, which is, there's a rumor.
Yeah.
There's a rumor going around. There's a rumor going around Chicago that they weren't prepared for the blitzes from Minnesota. When Minnesota, all they do is blitz.
The best game on the college schedule last week was the border battle with Oregon and Washington. That was fun to watch.
That was a heck of a game.
Two quarterbacks going back and forth. And you mentioned developing quarterbacks. Michael Penix Jr. started his college career at Indiana. And you didn't hear all that much about him because the Hoosiers weren't that good. He goes to Washington with a wide open offense. All of a sudden, he's now the favorite probably for the Heisman Trophy, and he outdueled Bo Nix in that game. They went back and forth, and the atmosphere was just great for that game.
Washington is a great place to play. University of Washington is a great place to play when they're winning. Their fan base is unbelievable. They kind of got that fan base that Seattle Seahawks have, the 12th man. So they always have a great fan base. And now that they're back to winning, that was a great game to watch. I watched that game, and I wanted to see how Oregon would come out and play, because right now, the Pac-12 arguably is the best conference in college football. I don't care what SEC fans say. They're arguably the best conference this year, and they can legitimately have a team. Now you got to remember, UFC lost. It's always not so bad to lose so early, because they're going to have some two teams in there. You're going to see Oregon still be in the top 10 at some point. Washington's I think 3 now. They're going to have a chance to play those teams to get right back into this. So that's why it's really good to lose. If you're going to lose early, because those other teams may lose late and push you right back into the playoff situation.
Hey, Mark, you were talking about pressure and folding like Caleb. How about on Penix? That guy got hit and hit and hit and stood there and kept delivering.
He made the big plays, 4 touchdown passes. He's really improved, because when he's at Indiana, he wasn't really even known for being a great passer.
He had no weapons.
Yeah, that's true.
They're all on the basketball team. They had no weapons. Indiana wasn't a passing team. Indiana was a grinded out, read option type of team. Here in Washington, he's got studs at every position at the wideout. He's got good running backs, so there's a lot more versatility. I watched him. That's the first time I got a chance to watch him play. I wanted to see how he played against top-notch team. And Oregon's not they ain't no slouch. Oregon can play. You may not like their coach, but they're fast. They're fast to the ball. They have a dominant defensive line, which I wanted to see. He took some hits in that and he stayed in the pocket. The throws he made was like NFL ready throws.
The game of the week this Saturday is Ohio State hosting Penn State. Both teams undefeated, ranked in the top 10. Penn State always does the white out in State College. In Columbus, they're going to do the scarlet red out. So it's going to be really interesting. I know my daughter will be watching, the Ohio State grad, cheering for her Buckeyes. It should be a good matchup.
Well, and Penn State, let's see if they're real.
Yeah.
They haven't played anybody. You can't get excited about, they're undefeated, but they're blowing all these weaker teams out. This is going to be their first real test. And you're going on the road to face Ohio State. Can they go in there and win? Ohio State is not as dominant as people think. They're good. They're good, but they're not a dominant. I think they were better last year than they are this year.
Yeah.
So it's not like Penn State can't go in there and beat them.
Yeah, it should be an interesting game. We talked to Jason about the whole second half collapse by Colorado against Stanford.
Oh, Lord.
Did you see the sketch they did on Saturday Night Live? They had Kenan Thompson dressed up as Dion.
No.
And they said, what happened on Friday with that 29-0 lead? He goes, hell, I just went home and went to bed. He wasn't even there for the second half. Kenan Thompson is a versatile guy. He does a lot of great stuff.
I'm going to tell you something. I just happened to stumble across the game.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't know they were playing. I said, who's playing on Friday night?
Yeah,
Is that Colorado? So I was at dinner and I was watching it, from the TV, and I'm like, oh, they're blowing them out. It's 29-0 at half. They're cruising, okay? And then all of a sudden, they come out in that third quarter and it looked like two different teams. It looked like Stanford came out, looked like the team that was higher ranked. There was a better team. They took a slant play. They were at the 3-yard line. They threw a little bubble screen to a receiver who ended up having 294 yards. And he took it to the house 97 yards. Now, my question is, and I've said this about Colorado, their defense stinks.
Yeah, they got to go
They
out and
can't
buy
catch
some
a cold.
defensive guys.
They can't catch a cold.
Yeah.
Okay, their defensive line is not. They don't get after the quarterback. Their defensive backs, they gamble too much. They put the kid Travis Hunter, who just came back from injury. They had him on Stanford's best receiver, and he got cooked. He got cooked. So if I'm Deion Sanders, I would have made the move to say, okay, look, he's not ready to play both ways today because he's been out for 3 or 4 weeks. We're at high altitude. Let him get his legs underneath him. He played over 100 snaps. 100 snaps on both sides of the ball. That kid was exhausted, and he took a shot in the end zone. He looked much better on offense than he did on defense. Yeah. If I'm looking at him as an NFL prospect, as a wide receiver, like he's Tyreek Hill type of player. Like he's constantly flying around, catching balls. Was this assassination attempt? This guy just walking in.
They can finally get the printer working.
Thank you.
So now you know what we're talking about.
Thank you, OGD. Oh, there you go.
Hey, the rundown says the last thing we do in the show is what are we watching? What are we watching? It's one of our favorite segments. Whisper, start us off. You got something good for us this week?
I went to the theater.
Theater.
That's right. And saw The Creator.
What'd you think?
I thought it was very well done. Special effects are amazing, but I would not recommend it for someone who wants to just be a fan of AI and find out more about that. It had almost very little to do with that.
Who's the star?
Denzel Washington's kid.
Oh, that's the one with the little kid that has half his head missing. And
Yeah.
Okay. It's like Star Wars.
Yeah, it's very well done, but some terrifying stuff in there, but not about AI. I mean, Terminator's a better AI movie. But
what was terrifying?
Well, this thing that they built for $1 trillion that you see in the picture there that flies over the earth and can basically zap anything that's moving.
Oh, Elon Musk.
On-demand destruction.
He's building it now.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
They call
I think it says Trump. I think it says Trump across the front.
Oh my
Well,
goodness.
he sponsored it, but it was built by Elon.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's a possibility, man. You never know.
Yeah.
I haven't seen it, but I've heard good things about it. I'm going to check it out.
Yeah, special effects are worth it.
Is it?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Is it on Disney? What is it on?
No, it's in theater right now.
It's in the theater.
Oh.
Old school. You got something for him, Stacey?
Throw mine up there. I need to see what I'm watching.
It was so good. You forgot.
Oh, the Mayans. Oh yeah, okay. So I just got done watching 7 seasons of Sons of Anarchy, and they play an important role in the Sons of Anarchy. They're in there, as their group, and so they got a spinoff show called the Mayans. So I decided to watch this, and I tell you what, man, it's a good show, America. You might want to check it out.
And Billions is in its final season. It's really heating up. There are 10 episodes through. They've got a couple more to go. And the final square off between Axe and Prince is coming up. And I got Chuck with Axe now. So you got a lot of power on that side. So they've set it up perfectly. Axe is back in the country. Mm-hmm. He pulled a dirty trick on Prince to back him off. So it's going to be a fantastic finish. I'm sad the show's going away. It's the last season.
I love it. Yeah.
So 2 more episodes coming up.
And the girl, what's
Maggie Siff.
Maggie Siff, she was in Sons of Anarchy.
Yeah, she's really good. I mean, it's a fantastic cast, really well written. If you have Showtime, make sure you check it out. Just pick it up from season 1. It's really a great watch all the way through. And before we say goodbye, I know Mike's waiting outside. Tell the folks how they can take advantage of Windy City Limousine.
Windy City Limousine provides championship service. Making a reservation is so easy, it's a slam dunk. Let Windy City and Mike Amaroth break the full court pressure of traffic and get you to your destination in style and on time. Contact Wendy at 847-916-9300. Again, that's 847-916-9300. Or go online to WindyCityLimos.com and ask for Mike Amaroth, the best in the business.
You were expertly doing the read, but I was looking at Cisco the whole time, and he faded in the different effects, and at the end of it, he gave the fist pump. He's so proud of himself.
Oh, so he
got it.
Look at it. He's been doing some extra stuff. Look at it.
It's because I messed up last week, so I was like, all right, don't mess it up this week.
See, listen, America, this is not a sweatshop out here. We're not making our workers live in fear. Okay, he's not going to get flogged or beat. But way to go. If you'd have messed up again, I couldn't guarantee that. Way to go.
Cisco, as long as the food is waiting when we get out of here, then you're okay. Otherwise, you messed up big time.
No.
As D is scrambling to try to place a food order.
Actually, I placed the food order at 5, so it should be here momentarily.
Oh, that's good work.
Okay.
To be fair,
Our Siracha crew on top of things.
I made sure.
Want to thank them.
Maybe there'll be some left this time.
Want to thank Jason Benetti for joining us, the man for all seasons, and we appreciate you for joining us as well. Make sure to subscribe to us on YouTube and on the Odyssey app. We appreciate everybody who joins us every week, and we'll be back next week with a brand new show as we get ready for the start of the NBA season, Tuesday, October 24th. It is almost here, and Stacey will be behind the mic for the Bulls opener. That is the 25th against the Oklahoma City Thunder.
I'll be back.
He's back, baby.
I'm off injury reserve, baby. I'm coming back, Bulls Nation, baby. And nationwide is on your side. I'll be in full form.
So until next week, folks.
Drive home safe. The Chicago beat.
Oh my goodness! It's only preseason, but I'm hyped.
Yeah, right now.
Jimmy